Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As I about title today's video, here to rank all the finishing badges and tiers for NBA 2K23 Season 3. So if you're new to the channel, new to the series, as you can see in the bottom left corner right here, text color is going to indicate Season 2 ranking. So Aerial Wizard in the blue right here was rated D tier for my Season 2 ranking, the worst finishing badge that I had. Now, there will be some change, obviously, that's what the whole point of this video is, to showcase the change. But to start us off, there is going to be no change. As you can see, Aerial Wizard is going to be staying in the D tier. But I hope y'all enjoy the video. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all good stuff, and like always, try to win to 2,000 likes. Aerial Wizard, in my opinion, is just a badge that really, as a pick and roller, maybe it demands some attention to be ran sometimes. I would say even more for 3v3 and 2v2, it's pretty solid. In 5s, lobs don't really happen quite as much in the half-court set. It is kind of a nice badge to have for fast break in some situations too, because I would say that's probably the most common occurrence for alley-oops to be thrown, whether it's in Pro-Am or for rec. So Aerial Wizard, again, to me is just kind of a D tier. It doesn't really see a lot of need to be ran on any type of build in particular. We won't spend too much time talking on the bad badges that also don't really have a whole lot of change on my opinions. Backdown Punisher, once again, I still feel like isn't that crazy of a badge. It's just a situation where really you could still get to the point of where you want to go as a post scorer without Backdown Punisher. It's just this helps you do it quicker. But nonetheless, it doesn't really drain a whole lot of stamina to back people down unless they have a super high level of brick wall, which again is still a rare occurrence in the first place too. When it comes to, let's say, like rec or even 1s or 2s, anything like that, Backdown Punisher is not a necessity. I would value way more finishing badges over this when it comes to being a post scorer. And obviously if you're not a post scorer, there's no point in running it at all. Now, let's talk about a badge that I have been a big hater of since day one of the game coming out, but have at least given it its credit for the fact that it still is a tier 3, and you would think every tier 3 has to be good, right? But Bully is a constant tier 3 for every single build, every single height. It is unbelievable how overrated this badge is as far as the tiering and how expensive it is for how horrible the badge itself is. Now, maybe I'm knocking this down quite a bit off the fact that it is tier 3. That is possible. I could be doing that, and I don't generally do that with my badge tier list videos. Generally, I'm just talking about the power of the badge, but I'm starting to think that I wouldn't even run this badge if it was a tier 2 at all, even still on my slasher type builds, and especially not if I was on some like quick dropping build that everybody else just runs, where it's like the 3-pointing shooting from top and then you just get your 3-pointer respected too much and go in for the dunk and the quick drops. I'm gonna be honest, Bully is probably the worst finishing badge in the game. I know I have it right here, so I'm gonna say it's the worst finishing badge in the game, but I almost feel like it's not even debatable at this point anymore. Aerial Wizard, I even still think is better than Bully, and that's saying something for sure. So, to finalize this badge and how I feel about it, I have not run this all year as a slasher, and whenever I have ran it on bronze, because that's all I really can get on most of my builds, because I wasn't going to up my strength like to unbelievable amounts just to get Bully or anything like that. So all I can even get it on is bronze, and I've tested it out a little bit, can't even get it to activate, to be real with you. Like, I don't even do things that correlate with it, and I have been hit with this animation one time all year throughout like thousands of gameplay hours already put into this stuff. And it's just ridiculous how horrible the badge is. Truly. Next up, we got dropstepper. Once again, not much change right here when it comes to a lot of post-score related badges. I just think dropstepper is one that it's okay. I mean, it's pretty good, and if you're an inside type post-score, it definitely would correlate with your playstyle. I still think though that just mashing down below, going for standing dunks or maybe fast twitch pump fakes and masher and stuff like that is probably more reliable of a threat than do dropstep. I would argue I may be even overrating this badge because of the lack of inside post-score playstyle that there even is in this community in the first place, but I still do want to show its appreciation for at least the people who actually do run it. But even at that, I think a lot of post scorers would probably agree that dropstepper is not one of the badges they really depend upon the absolute most. I think if you're an inside type post scorer, you probably rely on things like fast twitch a whole lot more, or even masher for that point as well. And I mean, even fearless finisher for that matter. But anyway, this stretch right here is where you're going to see so many more badges go up, and this is where I wish I would have just started with like parts like this in the video, but obviously we want to go in order from worst to best, and where I'm going to be now ranking them and going in order from where was worst to best in this order right here. But nonetheless, Acrobat. So this is a badge where truly, if you do spam this and utilize it in an unreal rate where you just really go for like acrobatic layups on everything you take, you will see an unbelievable amount of uncontested layups, and to even hit contested ones on top of that too. Now, you're going to see a general trend in this video right here where the layup related badges are all going up a huge tier, and I mean things like Giant Slayer, we'll talk about it when we get there, and Masher, Acrobat, Fearless Finisher, they're all going to be going up quite a bit because truly layups are a lot better than I gave them credit for in season 1 and even season 2 for that matter as well. Acrobat, literally just any change up, acrobatic layup, or for that matter too, the fact that it correlates with even hop dunks, spin dunks, euro dunks, stuff like that, and gives you better gathers. It goes a long way for that, and that is not to be slept on. Now, that aspect of it is not the cheese like super spam thing that I'm even talking about. I think that is a pretty respectable thing. To do the hop spins and gathers and stuff like that in the euros, I think is a pretty, like I said, respectable way. But the acrobat spam where you just go for a layup and just tap your X button 15 times before your guy can even throw the layup up and just get as many change up animations as you can, not only does it draw unreal amounts of fouls, and that's not even what acrobat is related to, but just the ability to make shots through contest and even just drop the contest as well. It's almost like you can't contest the layup because you're just like switching up 15 different animations, and the game can't even give you a good defend to it. It's just ridiculous. And I'm not gonna lie, the acrobat mechanic may be what's actually broken, but acrobat itself still helps you make those types of layups, and on top of that, like I said, the gathers too. So this can be going up to the B tier. You could even make an argument that it belongs in the A, but we'll get to that. I still think two other layup related badges are better than this one, so I want to give it a little bit of buffer room to talk about how maybe certain A tier and S tier badges are definitely still better than acrobat. Anyway, moving along, we have Masher, also moving up from C tier to B tier. This is a pretty good badge, I would say. After playing a little bit more 5v5 comp pro-am and seeing a lot of 7-2 insides or even 7-2 poppers that have Masher at a decent level, I will say, playing with 2-6-9s and pick and roll defense, you can definitely see that some people are utilizing this in a very like legitimate way with the 7-2s, and 7-2s going at the 6'9s definitely can be seen. I will say that much. Now, it is nowhere close to last year's like level of mashing when it comes to 7-3s or 7-2s from last year. Mashing 6'9s, not at all. Interior defense is plenty good in this year's game compared to last year, especially when it comes to standing layups. I mean, standing layups are almost dead if you ask me. They're still alive because people do make true inside bigs or poppers, whatever the case may be, like the 7-2s with super high levels of close shot. But albeit, that's just me speaking on my perspective of playing with 2-6-9s and pick and roll defense. For the people that run 7-foot backside defenders, or if you're in the rec center and you're generally like a 7-foot big man that's matched up on 7-2s and 7-3s, you're probably not getting you're probably not dealing with the level of masher problems that me as a 6'9" even is, and I'm not even having that big of problems either. At the end of the day, yes, people are making 41% contested layups sometimes, but to get 41% contest on someone who's 7'2" going up with a layup like that as a 6'9" is already still kind of crazy, to be honest. So whether they make it or not, it's still not a reliable rate enough to actually be efficient with it. I'll just put it like that. Like, whether people make a couple of them, I don't believe in that stuff. I don't get frustrated and really mad when people make stuff like that, because at the end of the day, it's not reliable enough to actually depend upon. We just call it fluke stuff. You can't win a game acting like that's just gonna work all the time. So anyway, my take on Masher, it's definitely worth putting on if you're a tall big, but if you're like around 7 foot to 6'11", anything like that, I would not recommend this badge. I just think it's really for the super tall inside bigs for Team Pro-Am or maybe even Rec Center as well. And in the Rec, I'm gonna be real with you, if you get matched up against another big, Masher is completely useless if we're being real. Like, even at a 7'3" rate, if you run it compared to, let's say your matchup is like 7'1", 7 foot, I just don't think standing layups are efficient enough against people similar heights to you and good interior defense and stuff like that to ever expect it to actually be reliable. What I think is more reliable is, let's say for instance, if you are like a 7 foot or 7'1" inside big man and you have really high standing dunk and you have rise up, that is a legit badge. We'll talk about that as well when we get to it, but let's talk about one that is even more respected, in my opinion, and demands respect. Giant Slayer. This is a badge. I'm talking it up like I'm all happy and excited to talk about it, but let me tell you, after playing in Team Pro-Am, like competitive Pro-Am, and going against the quote-unquote best in the game, I have seen so many 6'1" that come out here with the Hall of Fame Giant Slayer, or even at least gold. Gold is the most realistic that all of them run at the bare minimum. And even Hall of Fame with good driving layup rating. It's unbelievable, bro. You pair Giant Slayer with Acrobat and then also pair in Fearless Finisher as well. I don't even want to know what it looked like if people turned on their layup timing and ran Pro Touch either. That is unreal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I generally in the past have always hated on the people who run high layup builds and like no dunk. I'm like, what are you doing having a 90+ layup with no dunk rating? That's unbelievable. That's crazy talk. But this year, I actually believe in it. It might actually even be good, to be honest with you. And especially when you pair them both and you actually have high layup and high dunk, that stuff is crazy, man. Like, I can't even imagine if I was someone who was going for like a lot of contact dunks. Like, let's say you're a 6'1" guard that actually, I even looked into this build recently. I know I'm being very hypothetical with this because it's a very niche build. build that not a lot of people would do. But I was looking at 6-1 that had 99 driving layup, and it gets Hall of Fame Slithery off that, and then you could have 90 dunk and still get like pro contacts, you get gold limitless takeoff, you get like just good dunking rating in general. I would love to have 92 for like, you know, the elite contacts and stuff like that, but you can't get it at 6-1, and anything other than that at a guard position is kind of troll if you ask me, whether it's 6-2, 6-3. But nonetheless, my whole point here is that Giant Slayer paired with Fearless Finisher, paired with Slithery and limitless takeoff on gold, and then like all that stuff combined, if you go for dunk meters and then get kicked out of it by some way bigger defender than you or anything like that, all that driving layup rating with Giant Slayer, with Fearless Finisher, with like still running Slithery and stuff like that too, it's like ridiculous how reliable that take would be in the paint. You are unstoppable in the paint if you ask me, because big people can't even stop you because you still have Giant Slayer going crazy. And I've seen so many contests in Pro-Am where I feel like I've seen my teammates in great position, I've seen myself in great position, and I know how to judge interior defense in this year's game, because when a 6'9" tries me with that BS, that is not going anywhere. But when a 6'1" does, I'm telling you, bro, like that Giant Slayer carries. It absolutely goes insane for stopping you from even blocking them. It also goes crazy with clearly the contest rate, because I'll be right in someone's face with it with 93 block, 84 interior D. And again, when taller people try me with that stuff, it ain't happening at all, especially like tall people if you try that driving, dunk, driving lay stuff. But like I said, with Giant Slayer and those small guards, I'll be right in perfect position, and it ends up as like a 12% contest or something like that, because again, they're probably running at least gold Giant Slayer and silver Fearless Finisher. All you need for that is like literally 77 driving layup rating, and it goes hard, man. And for the people that have elite levels of layup, it's ridiculous. So Giant Slayer demands appreciation and respect, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty bailout badge. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I get real tired of these 6'1" guards talking about how hard their life is. Yes, I understand, I don't use one myself, it's not exactly my style. I actually would love to try one though that's finishing related, because I tell you what, man, it's crazy to run like Hall of Fame unpluckable. You can't even get like pluck stolen at that point. I'm gonna be real with you, it's literally unpluckable at that point. Even like silver and gold is untryable. Like if you try silver or gold glove going at unpluckable on Hall of Fame, you can't steal the ball. If you have Hall of Fame glove, it's maybe possible. I do understand that, but nonetheless, man, that you have the unpluckable stuff. You have Giant Slayer going hard for you. You got the Trae Young fades. Everything about a 6'1" is just crazy in this year's game besides defense, but even steal rating can still protect you at that point, and the build's a problem. I'm telling you, I have a lot of talk about 6'1s on the channel lately, and they're really good, underappreciated, underrespected builds in this year's game, in my opinion. But anyway, we've talked about Giant Slayer for a while right there. Let's talk about Fast Twitch now. Alright, so this badge will be staying in the B tier for me. It's nothing crazy, in my opinion. It's probably not quite as good as last year's game. In my opinion, last year's game with Fast Twitch, and I forget what it was. It wasn't called Masher, but it was definitely some like interior finishing bit, like badge that went super crazy. Again, my apologies that I don't even remember off the top of my head what it was, but Fast Twitch, not quite as good as it was last year, and it is still pretty solid. I will say for pick and roll offense though, and just like when you end up with the ball in the paint, I don't think this year's game is so much about pump fake, pump fake, pump fake, waiting for people to jump. It's just like, in general, you have to be in a good spot off the catch. It's pretty much as simple as that. And then if you get them in bad position, I will say someone is probably sitting here talking about the 1v1 court and how someone is just spamming pump fakes trying to get in great position. But at the end of the day, you only have so much time in 3v3 and 5v5 courts and stuff like that to really afford to pump fake that many times. And I'm gonna be real with you, you need to rely on dunks a whole lot more this year's game when it comes to mashing than close shot. That's just how I feel. Close shots are very contestable, but nonetheless, it's still a good badge. It still saves you from blocks every now and then, and definitely can throw in a couple pump fakes here and there and actually get people in the air and then go up fast enough to actually get the layup instead of getting blocked off the second jump. So Fast Twitch, decent badge. B tier is right where it belongs in my opinion, and simple as that. Alright, next up we got Dream Shake. This is going to be moving down from the B tier to the C tier. It's pretty respectable. I would say the badge is actually really good for outside oriented post scores, but at the end of the day, you don't see a whole lot of them. And even for that matter too, I know, like I talked about Tonic and how crazy his Dream Shake stuff was, but realistically, like shimmy fades are pretty troll, they're pretty blockable. And I would say like maybe like the shoulder shrugs and stuff like that, where you like fake like a little bit of a, you guys get what I'm saying, like you flick your right stick when you have the ball in the post and it activates your Dream Shake, because then you can post fade off of it, but or like post hop off of it, whatever you want to do, or even hook for that matter. But it is ridiculous, I will say that much. It definitely ups your rate of hitting the shots and stuff, but it's a little bit more predictable that you're going to go for the shot after doing it. So that's why I'm dropping it a little bit. It kind of is a tell that you're going to end up like taking a shot off of it, pretty likely. That's at least my take on it. It's still very good though. It definitely ups your rate of hitting those outside oriented post shots between the hops, fades, and the hooks as well. But in my opinion, Dream Shake, more of a C tier badge than a B. It's not in the same breath as Acrobat, Fast Twitch, and Masher. Definitely an area of Backdown, Punisher, Dropstepper, and Dream Shake though. And speaking of another badge that Dream Shake doesn't exactly compare to because it's in the B tier, we have Rise Up in the B. So I am actually looking forward to like remaking my Giannis build. I kind of want to do that. It's like the 6'11 that has 90 standing dunk, 93 driving dunk, gold poster, gold Rise Up as well. And I really do believe that if you have the standing big man contact dunks, that Rise Up is a devious badge. I really do think this is actually the more reliable rate of even getting dunks and pick and roll offense and mashing down low to even go, because I did have that 1v1 build, and I'll tell you this much: I had 95 close shot and 90 standing dunk. I was able to run things like Hall of Fame Fast Twitch and Hall of Fame Masher, I believe. I'm not exactly sure if I had them both Hall of Fame or not, but 95 close shot nonetheless, and 90 standing dunk with gold Rise Up. The standing contact dunks were so much more reliable and gave me so many more scores of that build than to have like 95 close shot and to just get layups and stuff like that too. Because why? Obviously dunks are way more lethal. And when you pair in having standing big man contact dunks, the Dwight Howard package, just in general being around, I would say like 6'10" to probably around 7'1", 7'2", reliably, I would say this is a crazy badge to run. I mean, anything more than 7'2", you don't get 75 vert anymore, I believe, which then takes away from your elite big man contact dunks. And anything below 6'10", you can't even run big man contact dunks. And Rise Up is not about activation of standing dunks anymore, at least to my knowledge. It's more about standing contact dunks. So the reason I never really liked running like 7.2s or anything like that, and why I thought people were trolling for it, is because you only get bronze posterizer on it. So, and really the reason for that is because that's all you can get for the driving dunk. 84 driving dunk was what you get for 7.2s, and I was like, oh well, why would you even care about having standing contact dunk packages in the first place if you can't even run anything more than bronze posterizer? I was like 7 foots and stuff like that are way better for that matter. But come to find out that the reason that that standing dunk is not tied into posterizer anymore and the level that you get it on is because Rise Up is the standing contact dunk activation badge. So as far as that goes, it's definitely not as good as posterizer, I'll tell you that much. I think like driving contact dunks a little bit more reliable than standing, but I will say this much too: I think you can activate driving contact dunks a whole lot more reliably with the dunk meter, and like compared to standing contact dunks, it is going to be hard for you to time those dunks. I'm gonna be real with you. Like standing contact dunks, even I will 100% rely on just X button. I'm not going to be doing dunk meter on standing contacts. It's way too hard to do that, and I would not rely on that at all. So you need badges to activate that type of stuff. Compared to, I think you can get contact dunks with no posterizer. Very much so. I've seen people even do it on my team. And my point even more so is with like the dunk meter as well. Like dunk metering with no posterizer is very legitimate. But anyway, moving on to another badge, we have Fearless Finisher, moving up from the B tier to the A tier. So this badge, in my opinion, in my like first-hand experience of what it does for me, this allows me to go for the dunk meters very reliably, and then if I get kicked out of the dunk, it literally is just about making contested BS layups. It's as simple as that. Like, and this works for like standing lays, it works for driving lays. It actually like is tied to both of them as far as like you can get it with close shot rating as well. So it does work for both. And I'm gonna just say this, man, like it is the bailout for me. Now, I did remake my Simmons build, and I had an 88 driving layup originally, which gave me gold Fearless Finisher, but now I have 80 and I only have silver. Even silver is still very good though, I will say that much. Like I still make a lot of those BS layups that I get kicked out of the dunks on, and it's still very reliable. And then for the people that maybe are, once again, like I said, the small guards or the high layup builds and stuff like that, Fearless Finisher paired with Giant Slayer is unbelievable, bro. It's so crazy, like with the stupid BS that goes in on layups when you have these two badges. Alright, so next up we have the two dunk badges right here. So we have Posterizer and Limitless Takeoff. Limitless is going to be moving up from the A tier to the S tier. Posterizer is going to be staying in the A tier. I truly do believe that what you're going to see in the S tier is just like a head above the A tier badges. So for instance, Giant Slayer, Fearless Finisher, and Posterizer are still very good badges, but they're significantly better than the B tiers. And the B tiers are significantly better than the C tiers. So I believe everything is kind of separated exactly how I want to display them now. And Limitless Takeoff is just like the must-have badge when it comes to finishing. Whether you have it on for contact dunks, for quick drops, you need it for at least silver when it comes to the quick drops. For the contacts, I'm gonna tell you this much: after playing that Uncle Demi tournament where I was on a build that had 93 driving dunk, but the restrictions only allowed us to run bronze Limitless Takeoff, that was so troll. That was like the worst thing I've ever done to my build and display, or even just to go out there and look like, you know, what I did. Now I will say we still did very good for that matter, but I clearly could not do what I used to be able to do, only running this on bronze compared to gold. And the contact dunking ability definitely got nerfed a little bit. I was only able to like dunk from very close ranges, which made it way more easy to block me as well. And it just in general it was so bad to run it at a low level, and especially if you're like I said, someone who runs quick drops or something like that, or just any level of dunking with your X button and trying to get a quick dunk to pop off. Limitless takeoff allows you to just be really hard to block in general because you take off from so far. So if you run this at least like a silver or gold level, I think it's like ridiculously still good. Hall of Fame, I haven't seen a lot of reps with it. I don't know if I like guard people or not that have it on Hall of Fame, or if they're just the typical gold and stuff like that too. But I'm sure the Hall of Fame level still goes hard from what I've heard from a lot of people as well. And then for posterizer, I'm going to tell you guys this much. Maybe I'm biased because of the style of slashing that I do, but even if you are someone who doesn't do a whole lot of contact dunks, clearly you're not even in favor of this badge in the first place. And if you do a lot of X button holding or up on your right stick holding and just trying to do conservative quick drop dunks, or for instance maybe just holding X button and hoping for the best, I don't even know if this badge truly relates to you quite as much. I will say this though. I think I can get away with not running posterizer a whole lot more reliably because I use the dunk meter and I can activate contact dunks whenever I would like to. Compared to the person who maybe goes in and holds their X button, you probably do need posterizer a whole lot more than someone like me, for instance. I've seen my boy Zeke, Apollo, all types of stuff like that use the dunk meter or X button and still get contact dunks with literally no posterizer active. So I think it's a little bit of an overrated finishing badge. I don't think this belongs in the S tier by any means like some people may think it does. I definitely don't think it belongs in the B tier though. I'm just going to say it's probably a low A tier. It's worse than Fearless Finisher and Giant Slayer though, in my opinion. Now, depends on your build at the same time too, because I would never put Giant Slayer on over posterizer on my 6'9". Giant Slayer is a very niche badge for people that are probably like 6'3" and under, or 6'4" and under, the small guards, so to say. So that's where this badge is a little bit biased, because again, like if you're talking 6'7" and above, it's probably a horrible badge, to be honest with you. Like for me, on my 6'9" slasher build, I generally only run Giant Slayer if I know a gigantic center is on the other team, and just for that matter, I only do it because I don't have very many badge points to put elsewhere. It's either that or like silver area wizard, or maybe like I take off a badge point and run bronze fast Twitch. Either way, my whole point is it's not worth it for me to be a 6'9" that runs Hall of Fame Giant Slayer. But if you have a pretty like mediocre set of finishing badges, do not worry about not being able to run posterizer. I would much rather have Slithery than posterizer if you had to make that decision, because generally what I'm expecting your situation is you have around 16 finishing badges, you did it just enough to get silver limitless takeoff, and then because you have just enough to get silver limitless takeoff, you maybe could double down on it and core Slithery on silver as well and run limitless takeoff as an extra badge. Or maybe you have 87 dunk and you have gold limitless and it's hard to core, so then you core silver Slithery and then you have like the gold limitless takeoff on as well. Long story short is, do not worry about not running posterizer on a build like that. I think you definitely could get away with not running poster and would rather run Slithery instead. But nonetheless, moving along, we have two more badges. We have Pro Touch moving down from the A tier to the B tier, and then we also have Post Spin Technician moving down from the A tier to the B tier. So these two badges were more post score related to me. Now I will say this much: I am sleeping potentially on the ability of the Pro Touch layups. I haven't tested this myself. I haven't been on a build that has super high layup and combining it with Fearless Finisher and Giant Slayer and Acrobat. I don't even know if you can time your layups on acrobatic layups in the first place because you're canceling it. But nonetheless, if you combine Pro Touch with Fearless Finisher and Giant Slayer and you're really good with your layup timing, you might actually be unstoppable. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like if you're a 6'1" that runs that stuff, that is crazy. That is like untouchable. But what my whole kind of main point with Pro Touch is it's more of a post-score badge in my opinion, because not a lot of people run their layup timing. I see very few people do it, and if they do, they're kind of trolling because they just end up shooting lates and earlies on their layups pretty often, or maybe get some slightlies every now and then. But nonetheless, I think of Pro Touch a little bit more of a post-hooking badge, and it does still work like that 100%. Both my corners in Pro-Am run it, IQ and Tonic, and it does work very good. Now, depends what build Tonic is using, because he's on a little bit more of an outside oriented post score that has more mid-range fades and let's say post fades and post hops and stuff like that, or even just hop jumpers in general, where it's kind of an outside oriented post score. So I can definitely tell you this much: you can get away with not having close shot on a post score. It's just you have to be pretty skilled with it. You got to be good with the MIDI Magician, the Space Creator, stuff like that, all types of the shooting badges. But if you want to be an outside-oriented post scorer like Tonic, as you've seen in the Pro-Am videos, it's plenty capable. He doesn't actually run anything on close shot on that build. It's only like 45 or like 50-50, something like that. But anyway, again, I see Pro Touch as a post-hooking badge. I think it belongs in the B tier. It's not quite as amazing or depended upon as I gave it credit for, and I think you can defend post hooks a little bit better than I gave myself credit for. But I will say these two badges go hand in hand together, and I probably overreacted to these two badges a little bit in last season's tier list between the tier 2 right here, just because I was on the 1v1 court quite a bit, and on the ones court where it's make it take it, these two badges combined are toxic, super toxic. So like, let's say for instance, you're killing someone with the hooks on Pro Touch and they have to guard you up super tight and be on your hip and ready to jump at you or just contest you in general. Boom, then you hit them with post spin because you just shrug off them if someone is hugging you tight. And if they have to back off you because they're hugging you tight, and then you go for the post spin on them, then boom, it opens up your Pro Touch post hooks. Simple as that, you're wide open. So I will say, I think I may be undercrediting these two badges even still, just because I'm on the 1v1 court less. I don't think these are that competent for 2s, 3s, especially Pro-Am for that matter either, but on 1s specifically, these two badges do go hard. They're probably specific, like in that one specific court, an A tier or S tier badge, but realistically speaking, I think post scores aren't that hard to guard in general on like a court that you have teammates on or anything like that. But either way, moving along to the final badge, we have Slithery staying in the S tier. So in my opinion, Slithery is by far the best finishing badge in the game, but at the same time, you need Limitless Takeoff more than you need Slithery, but Slithery stands out more because it's like so much more overpowered, I would say. So just think of Limitless Takeoff as the glue badge. You need to have this as a slasher, but Slithery is what unlocks your unbelievable ability to get crazy contact dunks or to glide into dunks or shrug people off of you when you're going for them when they're on your hip or behind you, or just in general. I mean, like even layups for that matter too. You can even get this, like I said, with a high layup rating. Like I was literally looking at that build with 99 driving layup and 90 driving dunk, and it had Hall of Fame Slithery. It's so crazy too, by the way. But anyway, my whole point with this badge, it's just bar none the best finishing badge in the game. Any style of play that you have, whether it's just an X button holding contact dunker, whether it's the contact dunk meter, whether it's you going for layups and stuff like that too, or gathers on layups, it just in general is the best finishing badge in the game. So that's at least my take on it. I don't really have a much better explanation to it. I'll be real with you. It even helps you stop yourself from getting stripped for that matter too on layups. So that's crazy. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all good stuff. And like always, try to one to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put finish in the comment search part way through, or put slash. But anyway, that is all for the video. Stay tuned for the shooting, playmaking, and defense. We'll definitely drop that pretty soon. I'm going to try and maybe drop them every day in a row for like 4 days, but maybe we'll mix in some videos here and there. Let me know if you guys are still interested in the tier list videos too. There is still a lot of fluctuation and change, and my opinions do change quite a bit. Not to mention there's a lot of patches here and there that deal with a lot of things, whether it's off-ball movement or, for instance, like guard movement in general, or just in general my vision on how builds have changed quite a bit and the meta of the builds. Because again, a couple of weeks ago or month ago, before I got into Pro-Am, I didn't see a whole lot of small guards, and I didn't see a whole lot of the Giant Slayer and Fearless Finisher on display. But now I do. A whole lot, and I see that it's crazy on those smaller builds. So those are the type of things that I'm talking about, where I still have things moving from C tier and B tier up to A, or for instance A up to S and stuff like that too. But or even for that matter too, moving all the way down from C to E, because bully is just hot garbage. But anyway, that's all the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. On that, take it easy, man. Peace.